Hi everybody, this is my third take and I hope this one goes through. Apparently my mic isn't working properly. What I'd like to talk about today is a project that I'm starting. I would like to start making some videos, maybe put them on my YouTube channel, uh, maybe 2-3 times a month if I have the time and I can come up with something that's interesting. Um, I have been studying the occult for a good many years. Um, I started young and kind of did it on the sly as much as I could back then because I was raised in a very strict Catholic home and I had to go through the motions even though I didn't feel like that's where I belonged. So as I've come up through the years, I've come across several different systems. They never felt right to me, systems and also religions. And to me, religions are nothing more than, you know, man-made bullshit. And I have told people time and time again, never let your religion get in the way of your faith. Always go with your heart, always go with what you feel, always go with how you look at the world. Now, I have found a system that really works for me. It's chaos magic. Now, that is something that's relatively new as far as being a movement. As far as having some kind of written record. Um, Now, it has had its followers way back to the Romans and the Greeks because the way we see it, it started with the just use the Roman goddess Discordia and the Greek goddess Eris, and there's a whole tale on them and how they cause they're the goddesses of chaos. So that just fits into the whole thing of it. That's more of a religious take on it than what it is the actual practice. So those that want a religion, they can have a religion. Those that just want to practice can have a practice. And this is based on years of going through different trials and mistakes and pitfalls and anything that you could think of, that we've done wrong, we've done right, and we learn from our mistakes. Um, One of the questions that I keep getting asked, especially from the younger crowd, is why the older ones that practice this are such assholes. We're not to the point where we're assholes. We're just very cynical. Um, with age comes a little cynicism, and with bullshit comes even more cynicism. Um, at one time, we were probably all very, very optimistic and had a very good outlook on things. And as things went, we got more cynical. I mean, we got more sarcastic. We just got tired of everything. The curtain was pulled away. We saw that the wizard was behind the curtain, and he was nothing more than a little old man that pulled a few buttons and strings, and it just made us that more cranky. That things aren't as people say they are, and it really upset us. Um, Peter Carroll, who's pretty much what they would call the Pope Peter of chaos magic, because he's the first one to actually start the movement. Back in the '60s, he's the one that actually started writing about it and putting it into a format where people could learn how to practice it. And especially in a time when people were looking for something different, something that was, against the establishment, but also something that pushed through the bullshit. They were tired of being lied to. They're tired of what their parents told them. They saw what the government was doing to them. They saw what everything else was going on around them. And they were tired of it. Well, they were also tired of the religion, too, because they saw things in there that didn't make sense, that were, not right. They didn't want that there, And that's what this answers to a lot of that in people nowadays, too. And what Peter said was the first stage of seeing through the game can be a shocking enlightenment that leads either to a weary cynicism or a profound Buddhism. The second stage of actually applying the insight to oneself can destroy the illusion of what the soul is and create a magician. Now, what I take from that is what I basically said before. We've seen behind the curtain. We've pulled the veil aside and looked behind it. And instead of finding a pretty woman, we found, grandma naked. That's just how we've ended up. And we're tired of the promises. We're tired of everything else that they said was going to happen, and it didn't. Now, it's the practice is attracting a lot of people that are, very anti-establishment, very, I'm a rebel, I'm a hipster, I'm whatever. Well, this is not for you. You have not lived long enough. You have not experienced enough. This is for people that have been through a few things. You don't know it's broken if you haven't experienced it. I can't tell you what's wrong with a car engine if I don't lift the hood and look. You've got to know what you're looking at in order to tell that it's broken. So you have to experience it. You have to put your hands in there. You have to grab a hold of it and see. Just the same way with anything. You have to experience it before you can criticize it and say it's wrong. And that's how we come about in this system. A lot of us have been through a couple different things in our lives, and we've looked at it and went, nah, this ain't for me. And I was one of them. I originally learned how to use German folk magic and German folk medicine. Some of that I still use. Some of that I still practice. But I don't fall back onto it as the end all, because there's more out there. I've said before to people that I was always the kid, and I've paid for it in many ways that people won't understand. That I was the kid that always wanted to know what was on the top shelf. I couldn't see it, so I had to look. I didn't know what was up there. And it intrigued me. And even the more taller that I got, the higher I kept looking, because if I couldn't see it, I wanted to know what the hell was up there. And it could have just been cobwebs and dust and, a couple rat turds or whatever the hell. But I had to look. I had to see what was up there. It just drove me nuts until I did see it. And that's how I am with this. And it gives me the freedom to go and look. It doesn't chastise you for looking further. It encourages you to look. It encourages you. Now, now there's some things where that kind of sounds like Satanism or Luciferianism. Yeah, true. But that's also a part of this system. That's one of the things of that religion that works here is the looking for knowledge and the grabbing of knowledge. So it applies here. You can use it here. And that's how this works, that you can pick things from other practices because everything's been picked. Everything's been taken from everything else. There is no true religion. It has all been one big goddamn mess from the beginning. It reminds me of the old FBI intro where, I don't know, half of you won't even remember that, but the announcer used to come on these are stories from the file of the FBI, only the names have been changed to protect the innocent. Well, that's pretty much how the hell this is how religions are. Even if you go back to the most primitive religion, it all basically started with a goddess. They have a main goddess in all religions. Even the Catholic religion, even the Christian religions, and they're going to deny it. But what the hell do you think Mary is? Mary's the Queen of Heaven. Well, that pretty much makes her the damn goddess. So that's just it's the same players. They just have different names as you go up through the years. So everybody has picked and choose in their practices in some point or another. And this is no different than that. But this doesn't rely on gods and goddesses. This puts everything in your lap. It's your power. You're not acting as a lightning rod for other outside sources. You're not a car being driven by something else. You're an individual. You're the driver. You are driving the magic. You are driving the practice. You're not doing it for somebody else. Somebody else isn't working for you or through you. You are doing it. You are the power. You are the one that that is doing it. Don't give your power away to something you don't see, and don't give it away to something you don't know 100% is there. That's a mistake that a lot of people make. They get this falsehood that if they throw themselves before a god or a goddess, regardless of who it is, that it's going to do something. Well, it isn't going to do anything. It's just it's you relying on something else. You're not powerful enough to be standing in your own in front of everybody. It's like this takes the training wheels off, and your training wheels are off. Dad's hand is off the back of the seat, and you're pedaling your ass off so you don't fall. And that's exactly what this system is. And it's going to be one of two things. You're either going to fall and get the hell back up and try again, or you're going to go straight and you're going to keep going. And if you fall and you give up, then this isn't for you. This doesn't work for you. It is not for the weak-hearted. You have to have a strong will. You have to have a strong being. And you got to have a thick skin. Because the people that don't understand this are going to call you all kinds of names, and they're going to, say this and that, and, call us frauds and whatever. Hey, I've been called worse. I don't give a goddamn. But that's what I want to teach people. I want to show people that, this is a viable option to what they're doing, that you don't have to sit there and do all these things. I've been through different circumstances where I've been to different rituals. I was to a Samhain ritual many years ago in a Unitarian church, which was great that they left this coven use it, and They had all the props, they had all the actors, they had the costumes, everything looked beautiful. And I was looking at it, and it was a great performance, and they did a great job, and they had the dancing, the circle dance afterwards, and everybody's dancing around and hopping, and this is great. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be in the back drinking a beer and eating some of my pasta salad. You have at it. And I couldn't understand what it had to do with what I understood Samhain to be. It's supposed to be a veneration of your ancestors, of the dead. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like, this has nothing to do with that. You're making a performance, and you're doing it as a performance. There's no contemplation being done here. As far as I'm concerned, a ceremony like that should be done individually and not in a group setting, because you are connecting with your past. You are connecting with your ancestors. I was looking at this like everybody's watching you. You are the center of this production. You are the center of this ritual. And it just started to get in my head, and I'm thinking, well, this is no different than a Catholic Mass. Nobody's listening to the ceremony, they're watching the performance. Half the people are in the back wondering what time the Phillies game starts or the Eagles game starts. The other half is trying to get over a fucking hangover that they had from, the Saturday before, because, they walk in the door and they stink to high heaven of booze. And they were probably down at St. Casimir's drinking their fucking ass off to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and had to get up at 8 o'clock to come to church at 9. And it was the same way with this. I didn't see any kind of reverence going on there. And I was like, no, this ain't the way this is supposed to go. This is nonsense. I don't need to be part of this. No, this don't work. And that's just how I did with so many of these different religions and different practices. And I've worked my way through this until I found how chaos magic works. And I like it because if you're grounded very well in ceremonial magic, hey, you can do it. It's fine. Whatever works for you is wonderful. I, on the other hand, would rather have things that I can do on the fly. I like to keep everything simple. I like to keep everything easy. I don't want to dance around 3 times in a circle and stand on my head and hop around on one foot and play the hokey pokey and do all this other shit, because I don't have time. I'd lose my patience. I lose my train of thought, and then after a while, it all goes to hell. So I have to keep it short, just to keep my interest and just to keep my brain on point. So I like that. I also like that I can take a piece of paper and a pen, and I can sit there and I can do a magical, I can do a ritual, I can do a spell, I can do whatever on a piece of paper and pen, in the park, underneath a tree. Nobody knows what the hell I'm doing. They just see an old guy sitting there writing. They don't know what I'm writing. They don't know what I'm doing. But I'm working. I'm doing a working, and nobody knows it. And I like that. Because I don't think magic should be in the open. I don't think it should be in your face. I never liked that part where all of a sudden everybody's got to be out there. I like being back in the shadows. I like being where nobody sees me, because I like looking different. I mean, I don't like looking different. I like to blend in. I like to be the gray man, the guy in the background. Nobody sees him. He just goes through the crowd and nobody sees him. I walk around in t-shirts and sweatpants most of the time, or t-shirts and jeans, whatever, because I don't like to stand out. It's not like I walk around in a cloak and all kinds of shit, so people can look at me and go, oh, yeah, he's a witch. That's not my thing. I want to look normal because then everybody leaves me alone. I can do my thing, and I don't have to listen to people, and I don't have to get lectured, and I don't have to listen to all this other bullshit. And I can do my thing. I can do my work, and I can just go on, and nobody knows the difference, and everybody's happy, and they leave me alone. So I would like to make this available to more people, and maybe some of the other things that I've learned over time. And even though I don't practice a lot of the stuff, I'm well versed in a lot of things. So I'd like to start doing this, and I'd like to start giving more classes. And I'm starting one again on March 15th. It's the Ides of March, I know. And it's going to be on Chaos Magick. And if you have any information, or if you want any information, or you want to set it up, I'm very flexible. I'm very flexible with time. I'm very flexible with if you're in another country and you want to set up a time, I can do that. So it's everything you need is on my page, Christopher Rogue Ostrowski, or on my business page, Papa Coyotes. And you can contact me there. When you see this on YouTube, you can contact me through YouTube. Whatever, whatever works for you works for me. So I hope to hear from everybody, and I hope this damn thing goes through because I really don't want to do a take number 4. So I hope to see you then. Have a good day. Bye-bye.